This podcast is produced and managed by Kangaroo Fern Media Lab, Australia's independent video and podcast company. We do the podcasting hard bits so you don't have to. We make podcasts easy. Book a call at www.kangaroofern.com. www.kangaroofern.com.
For today's episode, we'll talk about how frustration becomes doorways towards creativity and clarity, and how we can be able to reframe our idea about frustration and how to deal with it whenever we feel that it blocks our flow. You are listening to episode 8 of Wellness Fridays with Coach Joy Karen.
Let's talk well-being and mental health. Whether you're an aspiring coach, content creator, or podcaster, you need to take care of yourself as well. Wellness Friday with Coach Joy Karen.
What's up, bud friends? It's me once again, Joy Karen, your creativity coach. Wellness Friday is a weekly show created for podcasters and content creators. This show aims to talk about creativity, inspiration, and overall well-being so you can keep doing what you love most. I would like to thank my podcast management group, Mika of Kangaroo Fern Media Lab, and to your amazing team for this platform and for the opportunity to spread the spark of creativity all over. So more and more people will do what they love most as they hashtag sparkle within. All right. You know what? The past week has been such a huge challenge for me. I had so many things to do, yet my body doesn't want to cooperate. For weeks and weeks now, I had been juggling tasks and deliverables for my group coachees, for my one-on-one coachees, and my creation or me creating a course about video creation. Since the weather here in our country has been changing a lot lately, so naturally, flu season has begun. For me, it started with a slight headache, stiffness of my joints, sniffles, and a slight cough. And as the days progressed, so did these symptoms, and by the end of the week, I had to really take a hard stop. It was so frustrating because I knew I had a lot to do, yet I can't even focus. Every slight sound or movement is not helping my headaches at all, so I really had to stop myself from doing anything. The more I resisted with what was happening, the more frustrated I got. In my moments of pause during the recovery from the flu, I had a chance to really have a good look on what was happening with myself and my creative flow. I was resisting frustration. I did not accept that I am frustrated with the fact that I am not able to function well. I ignored what my body was feeling. And in this moment of pause, it hit me like lightning. Frustration is the pathway that leads to clarity and creative flow. Of course, naturally, we don't wish to feel frustrated all the time. But as I embrace frustration, acknowledge the fact that I am frustrated, the less I resisted. One of my favorite authors described this feeling perfectly. Elizabeth Gilbert said, "If you want to be an artist of any sort, then handling your frustration is a fundamental aspect of work. Perhaps the single most fundamental aspect of the work. Frustration is not the interruption of your process. Frustration is the process." Well, many of us have this love-hate relationship with frustration, right? It happens just right after the sparks of creativity or inspiration. So sometimes it feels like a cruel joke. But if we look at it with openness and less resistance, letting it do its job, it leads us to even more powerful surges of new ideas and clarity. So how do we deal with frustration? How do we reframe our idea and relationship with frustration? Before we proceed, let's just be clear. Reframing our idea about frustration doesn't mean we have to enjoy it. The key word here, friends, is acceptance. And as you might have known by now, there are many things in life we accept. yet we don't really like, right? Frustration comes in all shapes and sizes, and sometimes it comes from your inner critic belittling your achievements, or to the big rejections from a deal of a lifetime. Amidst its presence, we cannot shoo it away. A life without frustration isn't life at all. It will be quite boring, right? And we'll have nothing to resist to or to limit us. Our creativity will simply fade away and we'll just end up living like robots. We need trouble, resistance, pressure, boundaries, and limitations.
We will be right back.
Are you passionate to help other podcasters? Wanted to connect to growth-minded podcasters and service providers? The Podcast Creators Society is now open for a new member. Head over to www.podcastcreatorsociety.com/community. Are you ready to finally start your own podcast? Maybe you already have one, but need a podcast manager to help you level up. We're here for either. Book a call at www.kangaroofern.com www.kangaroofern.com.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
We need this in healthy doses. So, in dealing with frustration, the best way is to get to know how it affects us. How does our mind react whenever we are frustrated? What do you often feel whenever we are frustrated? Or what beliefs are challenged whenever we feel frustration? Give yourself time to know more about these, and you might just be looking at the key unlocking the door towards a more powerful source of creativity that is from within. Now that you have reframed your idea about frustration, what can we do about it? Look at frustration as a street sign. Well, admit it, most times we ignore those, right? Even at the risk of accidents or getting caught. If we keep on ignoring the signs of frustration, the more dangerous the path might be. It might be a sign for us to slow down or to stop. So if we see it, we must. Whenever we feel frustrated, pause. Pushing ourselves further might lead to even bigger frustrations. Rest if you must. It's similar to open a valve to release pressure, making more room for clarity and creativity to take its place. Next, listen to your body. What is it telling you? Well, aside from rest, what do you need? Maybe your body needs a 10-minute walk, to soak under the sun, to be nourished with good food and good music, to have a light conversation with a friend, or maybe a hug. Sometimes our body needs more sleep, more water, less coffee. Help your body recover from the sensations brought by frustration. And at the end of the day, we need to take care of ourselves because our body is the vessel of our minds and our hearts. Lastly, once we see the first signs of frustration, welcome it instead of resisting it. Expect it to bring about new sources of creativity and ideas that you need. And in contrary to what we used to believe in, frustrations come in just in time. Let me repeat that again. Frustrations come in just in time. So, pod friends, remember, frustration makes creativity possible. Embrace it, accept it, treat it as your no-nonsense friend who gives you the hard truths of life. And as you learn to accept its critical role in creativity, you open your horizons to greater heights of creative confidence. That's it for today, pod friends, and I hope this episode sparks something awesome in you. If you'd like to listen more of Wellness Fridays with Coach Joy Karen, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to connect, you can find me on Facebook. Just search Joy Karen, the Creativity Coach. The conversation doesn't end here, friends. Go on over to the Podcast Creator Society. The link is on the description. So we would also get to know more about what you feel whenever you are frustrated, how you deal with frustration. Podcast Creator Society is a group of podcasters helping out other podcasters to together rise above and become better at this beautiful platform called podcasting. And if you're also interested, you can also join us at the Podcast Freelancers Hub. If you feel that this episode is worth sharing, please do so. It will help us reach more podcasters and content creators who might be needing that spark of creativity, inspiration, and overall well-being. Again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next week. But before I go, let me remind you to keep doing what you love most. That is how you #sparkle within. Bye!
Are you ready to finally start your own podcast? Maybe you already have one, but need a podcast manager to help you level up. We're here for either. Book a call at www.kangaroofern.com www.kangaroofern.com